Hi, and welcome to the Fast Diet Plan, which we believe is the best and easiest way to get into shape without having to give up the foods that you enjoy. And that's what's different about this one compared to other diets out there. A lot of diets work provided you stick to them for the rest of your life. And if that involves giving up things that you like and using a lot of willpower, sooner or later, the chances are your willpower will weaken and you'll come off the diet. Now this one, the Fast Diet Plan, we've broken down into 7 steps, one for each day of the week, to make it even easier to learn and follow. And I'd like to start by asking Jen, how did you get into this?
Well, I have never been a big fan of lunch and breakfast, I have to say, and I'm so excited to find it's becoming popular.
Popularised because Dr. Michael Mosley of the BBC reported that it had worked really well for him.
Slightly different, but yeah. And I got into it when I was a teenager because I was busy and I was running around, and I guess, you know, I'd always been very thin. And then
where was this, by the way, Jen?
It was in Brisbane, I think. At the time I was living in Melbourne, and I went to Brisbane on my holidays, and it was bikinis. I think I've still got the picture of me. I've got a bit of a sort of a tummy there.
How many years ago would this be?
Oh, this would be 50 years ago.
Okay, yeah.
And I was staying with a friend, and things were a little bit chaotic in her household, and we didn't really eat lunch, and I noticed that my stomach sort of disappeared over that period, and I think it imprinted on me, that idea. And then years a bit later in my life, and I was back at getting a bit older, and I had this real obsession to get into a pair of blue jeans that I'd seen in the shop, and I kind of started skipping my sandwiches at lunchtime, and I couldn't go all night. I couldn't ever stick to any diet or anything, but I found that just by cutting out the sandwiches, I kind of got into the jeans, and so it happened, and I just got used to not eating lunch. I didn't never eat lunch, but most of the time, and anybody who knows me who knew me when I was young or worked with me will know I very rarely ate lunch.
So you found really that by skipping one of the meals, you still felt energized and you had more time and you didn't miss that meal at all. Which
no, I didn't actually miss it at all, because I always had a lot of things I was doing and found it gave me time to do something extra that I couldn't do in my normal whatever it was job I had. I've had quite a few different jobs.
So really what we're talking about with what's known as intermittent fasting isn't really fasting. All it is giving your body a rest during parts of the day, giving your body a chance to digest the food that you put in it. And you're saying as a young girl, you had discovered this for yourself, and so you've been now following this. And you're programmed because you eat in the evening whatever you want, and you like to drink some wine and so on, and yet you have been slim since I've known you. And of course we met at the BBC. We met at the BBC quite a long time. How many years ago?
Oh, maybe 25.
I noticed, because the strangest thing was you were always surrounded by heavy smokers, and the odd thing is you're very anti-smoking. It's funny, isn't it? Because sometimes the things that you have on your mind sort of appear in your life, whether you want them or not. And of course, you ended up marrying me, and I was a 40-a-day smoker.
Yeah, this is absolutely true.
Isn't it?
Very strange, yes.
So, okay, my story is that
shocked many people, I think.
12 years ago at the BBC, I decided to quit, and the problem with that is that, like many people, I immediately hit, in my case, a strange, I started to drink both coffee and Coke together to get a good caffeine hit to replace the cigarettes. And as well as that, I started bopping along to McDonald's, do they call them Happy Meals, or special meals, breakfast meals that they give you, and eating these wonderful McMuffin burgers and so on. And I had a pair of leather jeans, actually, that I bought in France. And to my horror, after a few months of not smoking, I found that the leather jeans would actually not fit at all. In fact, there was I couldn't close them. There was about 6 inches of weight had appeared through these very, very bad snacking habits. And so we decided to apply this fast diet plan to my case. And I have to report that it worked very, very well. I rapidly lost all the weight, and I also lost my cravings for sugary food as well. And I attribute that to this plan. And as I said, we've broken it into 7 steps. And I'd like Jenny to start by explaining it. Although it's a very easy plan, of course, you do need to have a reason to follow it. In Jenny's case, she wanted to get into her jeans, and I actually wanted to get into mine as well. I had so many clothes I couldn't fit into. And so we recommend, Jen, step 1 of the 7 steps. Would you lead us through it?
Yeah, well, step 1 is getting in touch with what it is you want and where you want to be in the future. And one of the best ways of doing that is imagining that you're already there and imagining the way you would live your life when you were the right weight, the right size, the right shape. And by stepping into that role, you naturally, after a while, create a connection with your subconscious that empowers you in your existing current life to live that way.
Absolutely. This is actually a very powerful process. Most people have got various ways of motivating themselves, but this is something that a lot of people haven't tried, and it is extremely powerful. It's based on the idea, as you said, that if you want to experience something, you really will experience that thing once you start to express it in your own life. And so what you're meaning is that if you, for example, are feeling fat and heavy and not fitting your clothes, well, that gives you some reason to want to change, but those aren't goals. They're basically, you can't impress those on your subconscious. But if you then say to yourself, well, how would it feel if I was slimmer, and actually start to act as if
and you step
you
into
were.
that life, and then when you've stepped into it, you list all the benefits. So
stepping in might be, for example, that you might ask yourself, if you were asked to play the part of somebody who was a slim person, and you would automatically start to move around and walk about in a certain way, maybe a sort of a bouncy step or whatever you think. And in acting that way, you should try this today, because it's a really, really enjoyable experience. Just ask yourself, how would it be if I was as fit as I can imagine? Let me play the part of a fit person, and you will definitely start to experience that quality of energy and fitness in your life very, very quickly. And so we're calling this results in mind. And then so the next phase of that is, it helps, doesn't it, to sometimes get your motivation in the form of a sentence. You might.
Yes, I mean, I think it helps to start with a list and then try and build from that list. A sentence may come to you immediately, or a picture, an image may, but it's kind of getting something that you can really connect with very quickly, and that may take a bit of time, but you can start with a list, start with getting the feeling.
Because if you, as I say, if you only have a few things you don't want, there's nothing there that you can latch onto. Whereas if you have a sentence or even a touchstone, which could be something that reminds you of what you want, it could be perhaps a picture of a new outfit that you want to be able to buy. It could be a motivational or inspirational statement.
It might be a bracelet on your wrist. It can be anything that reminds you that it's important to you to get fit and stay fit. And
just as when we moved from London to the French Riviera, we started off, we were going on holidays there together, and you came back to work one day and you found in your pocket
yes, that's true, yes,
a pebble.
Yeah.
A pebble from the Nice beach, and you put it onto your desk, and that was your touchstone, wasn't it?
Yeah, that reminded me. It took me 5 years to get there, but eventually we left our jobs in London and we made it to Nice, and we've spent the last 10 years off and on in the south of France.
And enjoying the lifestyle and eating out every night and not having any problems with our weight or fitness. And so we do invite you to stay with us over these 7 steps. This is the first one. It's about motivation, and we're calling it results or rewards in mind. And it's really just about getting clear about what you want to enjoy, and then starting to act as if you've already got that. If you practice this today, you will find it a very, very, very enjoyable and powerful process. And we will tomorrow be explaining how to create your own tailor-made, as it were, diet plan to suit yourself. And so this was the first of 7 steps, one for each day of the week.
Yeah, thanks.
So this is of course Magic or Motivational Monday.
Use your imagination, get into the magic that's inside your head, and learn how to record it very quickly.
Absolutely. Bye from us.
Thanks for listening.